former Hollywood Golden Girl Natalie Wood. Natalie's life was complicated despite her celebrity, beauty, and talent. Her path was filled with struggles, secrets, and shade. She died tragically at 43. Her death was first considered accidental. In the years since her death, witnesses and insiders have claimed that her terrible death was not an accident. People have sought to connect the connections and blamed those with her the night she died. Christopher Walken was one of 3 persons with Natalie the night she died, but he kept quiet for years. Walken has disclosed what he saw that night, and it will stun you. Hollywood Trials of Natalie Wood. Natalie Wood once had everything. Almost untouchable. She was exquisite and liked. The perfect smile hid a woman battling for control in an industry that rarely granted it. She vanished in the most painful way. However, few realize that her life's challenges were a terrible road that culminated to that tragic moment. Natalie Zakarenko was born in San Francisco, California, on July 20, 1938, into a milieu that demanded she grow up sooner than most youngsters. From the start, stage and screen were more than jobs. Their world was all she knew. Maria was a strong mother with a clear idea for her daughter's future. She forced Natalie into acting before she understood childhood. She entered the spotlight at 4 years old, starting a path that would amaze the world but cost her dearly. The industry immediately noticed her specialness. She was the quiet yet powerful girl with black eyes. The 1947 film Miracle on 34th Street revolutionized her life and gave her her Hollywood debut. Natalie's performance moved millions. She went from kid actress to household name. Growing up in Hollywood was difficult, even as the world praised her talents. Natalie's childhood as a child star was unusual. While other kids played outside or learned to read, she memorized lines and attended film shoots under her mother's strict eye. Natalie's sensitivity was sometimes overwhelmed by Maria's drive. Her youth was formed more by performance schedules and studio demands than by unrestrained play or innocence. Natalie had no choice but to start professionally. Unfortunately, this would set her up for years of trouble. Natalie's career grew as she entered her teens, but so did her obstacles. She starred opposite James Dean and Sal Mineo in Rebel Without a Cause, aged 16, and cemented her Hollywood legacy. The film became a cultural phenomenon, earning Natalie her first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Many young performers dream of this, but Natalie's win was bittersweet because her roles were often too similar and she fought Hollywood typecasting from a young age. Natalie battled hidden personal issues behind the glamour and flashing cameras. Her great fear of water, especially dark water, was disturbing. Friends and family later revealed that her anxiety worsened after she was unintentionally flung from a bridge while acting out a storm scene as a child. Fear became a barrier she couldn't overcome even as she rose to fame and money. Ironically, a singer who died in water-related accidents was haunted by a dread she never conquered, even as a child. Natalie relentlessly fought the child star image. Hollywood made it difficult for her to grow into more serious, nuanced roles that showed her depth as an actress. Many kid performers suffer with this conflict between their industry identity and their true selves. Natalie experienced professional stress and emotional exhaustion that eroded her confidence and happiness. Natalie's personal life became increasingly problematic as she tried to preserve her public image. She faced sadness behind closed doors, a hidden enemy that grew through fame and loneliness. She sought treatment and battled to find security in a world that ignored her grief. Natalie worked hard despite her troubles, refusing to be defined by them. Her brilliance and perseverance cemented a career that inspired decades. Natalie Wood's love life was complicated despite her Hollywood prominence. Natalie struggled with complicated romances, passionate passions, and secrets that few knew about behind the scenes and red carpet grins. She met one man whose link to Natalie would become part of her life and death mystery. What really happened behind closed doors? How did these relationships shape the world-known woman? Marriage, Christopher Walken, and love? Natalie Wood's romantic life was complicated. Like a Hollywood film, it had twists, turns, and second chances. Behind the sheen of celebrity, she struggled with complex emotions that influenced her relationships. Natalie's first marriage began early. She married Robert Wagner, whom she had met years previously and had a crush on, at 19. They were young, rising stars, and the perfect pair, the kind of love tale everyone wanted to believe in. They were young, attractive, charming, and profoundly in love, so the press called them Hollywood's golden pair. Behind closed doors, things weren't so pretty. Being young and renowned was quite stressful. Wagner was establishing his career, while Natalie was still searching for herself outside of acting. Their relationship began to disintegrate, and in 1962, they divorced after trying to work it out. Fans were startled by their terrible breakup, leaving them to rebuild their lives. Wagner stated in an interview that their divorce may have been due to, but it was one of her most difficult marriages. When writing about their relationship, Natalie wrote, "Thankfully, she started treatment and began the long road to healing and rehabilitation." Her second marriage was to British film producer Richard Gregson in 1969. This marriage differed. Natalie finally had a chance to escape the public eye at this quieter time. She hoped to start over with Gregson and live a normal life. Their daughter Natasha was born in 1970. Natalie started a new chapter. Sorry, the marriage ended quickly. Natalie divorced Gregson in 1972 after reports of infidelity. Natalie's brief marriage revealed her desire for security and tranquility as much as love. Hollywood had taken its toll, making it hard to find inner peace. Then something unexpected happened. Natalie reconciled with Robert Wagner the year she divorced Gregson. They decided to give their love another opportunity because the spark never died. They married again in 1972, this time permanently. Naturally, their second marriage was difficult. The years apart had altered them both, yet Hollywood was still demanding. However, they were older, wiser, and perhaps better prepared to face life and fame's ups and downs. For almost a decade, they loved, dedicated, and committed to each other differently. Natalie Wood's marriage and love were never easy. They had twists, heartbreak, and second chances. Just when her tale looked stable, a fresh connection suddenly emerged and sparked speculations no one could have expected. Natalie met Christopher Walken, and it all started. Natalie Wood and Christopher Walken's 1983 film Brainstorm deepened their intriguing relationship. Their chemistry was obvious on television, but their working relationship spawned years of gossip. Natalie saw Brainstorm as more than a film. She might start a new chapter in her career with Hollywood's most intriguing actors. Christopher Walken, recognized for his passionate and unpredictable performances, was always noticed. Audiences noticed energy in his encounters with Natalie. This intimacy was never established off-screen beyond friendship and professional respect. However, Natalie's sister Lana Wood's 1984 book, Natalie, revealed many of Natalie's hidden secrets, fueling the accusations. Lana said Walken and Natalie's friendship was deeper than anyone thought. She said the two had a strong connection throughout Brainstorm filming, but it could have been one-sided. Hollywood loves a good love story, especially a secretive one, she says. Thus, Natalie Wood's already tumultuous existence was heightened by sexual rumors. A fascinating piece of the puzzle kept fans and gossipers interested. Christopher Walken rarely discusses personal things in public. Therefore, these rumors have gone unchallenged. Natalie's life was already complicated, but this reported relationship added another element that continues to fascinate decades after her untimely death. Love and marriage altered Natalie Wood's life, with highs and lows, reunions and heartbreaks. Natalie had a life filled of tension, secrets, and complicated relationships. But what happened to her on that frigid November weekend changed everything and changed everyone. Trip that altered everything. Most families rejoice and offer gratitude throughout Thanksgiving weekend. For Natalie Wood, Robert Wagner, Christopher Walken, and boat skipper Dennis Davern, this Christmas would forever be marked by tragedy and unresolved questions. A simple sailing trip off Catalina Island was supposed to help them relax, reconnect, and enjoy the ocean breeze. But what happened on that yacht changed everything and turned the weekend from peaceful to tumultuous and heartbreaking in an instant. The party started their stay together with meals at a mainland eatery before sailing. It went beyond dinner. Heavy drinking was also prevalent. Dennis Davern, the boat's skipper, reported considerable tension, especially between Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken. Two guys who were important to Natalie in different ways seemed to be fighting silently, and no one knows why. Wagner was reportedly jealous of Walken and his wife's blossoming relationship with her younger co-star. With Natalie and Walken spending so much time together filming Brainstorm, Wagner may have found them too close. The tone altered as the group returned to the yacht. The drinks continued, but not the smiles. The yacht was supposed to provide seclusion, sea views, and calm for the group. Instead, it set the setting for an unpredicted disaster. Captain Davern, who was feet away, said Wagner and Walken argued. It started during dinner and burst on the boat alone. The two men debated Natalie's acting career, Walken's influence, and Wagner's third-wheel status. Walken went to bed early to avoid the drama, and Natalie Wood retreated to the cabin that night, but she was never seen again. Natalie's late return to shore frightened everyone on the yacht, but the real heartbreak came when her face-down body was found floating near the boat in the chilly, murky ocean the next morning. First, it appeared to be a devastating accident and slip-and-fall drowning. The official verdict immediately ruled her death accidental, claiming Natalie had probably tried to fasten the dinghy, slipped, and plummeted into the ocean. People who knew her didn't believe it. Unanswered questions, fragmented memories, conversations, and witness accounts made many question the accidental drowning ruling. Fans and the media mourned and wondered how a quiet trip that promised leisure became the start of a decades-long Hollywood mystery. The true question was, what happened on that yacht in the hours after Natalie disappeared? No one expected the answer to this question to be a web of secrets and competing stories. Everyone was shocked and perplexed when Natalie's death investigation began. Investigation and frightening results. Natalie Wood's body was recovered floating near Catalina Island the morning following that awful night. Her flannel nightgown, stockings, and red parka. Investigators quickly targeted nighttime attendees. Her husband, actor Robert Wagner, matters most. Wagner reported to police that Natalie went to bed late that night and then secured the dinghy to prevent it from slamming against the boat and generating noise. She slipped and plunged into the lake. He said it was dark and windy, and she wasn't wearing shoes. He also said he didn't notice she was gone until it was too late. After the coroner deemed her death an accidental drowning, this account was accepted, but not everyone believed it. Investigators doubted her after seeing marks on her arms and legs. These weren't minor marks, and some experts thought they were from a fight. Others said they were caused by falling or hitting the boat construction during a frenzied moment. Whatever the case, the bruises raised concerns that didn't fit the accident story. The autopsy report showed Natalie's high blood alcohol level. It was more than a few drinks. It hampered her coordination and decision-making. Along with drinking, prescription medicines were found. It wasn't apparent if she was hurt physically or emotionally. These details showed that Natalie wasn't her regular self that night and may have been vulnerable in ways others didn't see. In the absence of foul play and Wagner's account looking credible, the police closed the case and the world moved on. However, some Natalie friends never did. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened the case in November 2011 after decades of silence, citing new evidence. Dennis Davern, the boat skipper, made startling statements about that night, sparking the debate. The animosity between Christopher Walken, Robert Wagner, and Natalie didn't disappear on the yacht, according to Davern. In fact, it increased. Many were surprised to learn that Christopher Walken advised Natalie Wood to focus on her work during the trip. Davern claims that Robert Wagner was profoundly offended by this suggestion. Walken's encouragement may have been perceived as invading her husband's zone or influencing Natalie in a way Wagner didn't appreciate. Natalie had been suffering with her profession and personal life for years. Davern said this suggestion caused a deeper divide. He also said Wagner and Walken had a furious argument on the yacht that night that escalated. He claimed Wagner destroyed a wine bottle in frustration, causing cabin tension and animosity. He had more to say. Dennis Davern revealed additional problematic weekend events. He gave information that sparked decades of Natalie's death rumors. He claimed Robert Wagner delayed Natalie's search after she disappeared. Davern claims Wagner didn't immediately notify the Coast Guard or crew, wasting critical minutes. Wagner refuted the charges, but they still shocked the public and media. Feed speculations of a darker cover-up. Davern's claims were made years after the incident and are based on his memory and perspective. Although none of his assertions were validated, coming from the shop's most neutral individual added layers to the tragedy that many found too troubling to ignore. Davern wasn't the only one who commented on the tragedy. Natalie's younger sister, actress Lana Wood, kept asking questions. She stated that Natalie would never use a dinghy at night, especially after drinking. Lana said Wagner's story didn't fit Natalie's fears. She said Natalie couldn't swim in dark water. She couldn't understand why she would leave to untie a boat at night. She accused Wagner of concealing his role in Natalie's death. These opposing assertions made the study a tangle of theories and unsolved questions. Why didn't the cops probe deeper then? Some sources say Wagner's star profile kept the case quiet, while others say the paucity of proof and no evident indicators of foul play supported the accident scenario. One of the biggest results of this revived probe was Natalie Woods' 2012 death certificate modification. Drowning and other unidentified circumstances replaced accidental drowning as the cause of death. Many individuals wondered what these additional uncertain factors were after hearing that sentence. The phrase suggested her death was more than an accident. Investigators suspected foul play or something sinister. Police wanted Natalie Wood's husband, Robert Wagner, in 2018. He wasn't charged, but officials suspected he had critical information concerning Natalie's death. The news shook the media and public. Fans who had always perceived Wagner as the sad husband were now asked disturbing questions. Was he hiding something? Maybe he was involved in what happened. Despite these dramatic developments, the official investigation failed to reach a conclusion. The death of Natalie Wood remains a mystery and sparks debate. Natalie Wood's death remains one of Hollywood's most enigmatic mysteries. Its tragic tale of fame, love, mistrust, and unanswered questions endures. Christopher Walken silently watched as the investigation progressed over the years. In addition to his cinematic and tangled history with Natalie Wood, Walken was present on that awful night when everything went wrong. He was quiet for a long, but what he said gave an unexpected twist to the story, compelling the world to rethink Natalie Wood's death. Christopher Walken's confessions. That night he was there. He apparently heard and saw the argument's tension. Christopher Walken hardly mentioned that horrible night for decades. When he finally spoke up about Natalie Wood's unexplained death, the world listened. Walken has always said Natalie's death was a tragic accident and that he had no idea what happened. However, this response increased suspicion. Why was he silent? That night, he saw what? Why did a critical eyewitness remain silent? Walken rarely spoke out, except in a 1986 People magazine interview a few years after Wood's death. He gave unclear answers to questions about what happened. "I don't know what happened. Slipping, she fell in the water. In bed then." This simple comment provided little insight into the night's events. His attendance on the yacht is confirmed, but the circumstances are unclear. Walken talked again almost a decade later. Walken viewed that awful night differently in another Playboy interview. He suspected Wood fell into the water while securing a dinghy outside the vessel. He said that those who believe there is more to it than what the investigation found will never be pleased with the truth because there is none. Despite years of speculation in the media and publications, Walken's insights have never changed the story. They seem designed to close doors rather than open them to gratify curiosity without providing answers. This has left fans and true crime watchers wondering what he knows, what he's hiding, and how his experience fits into Natalie Wood's final night's heartbreaking riddle. Natalie Wood was a shining example of talent, hardship, love, and sorrow. The historic journey touched millions, but it had its dark side. From a young star thrust into the spotlight to a woman struggling to find herself beyond Hollywood, her narrative is one of courage and heartache. Her strange death crushed many hearts and left unanswered concerns. Natalie Wood is timeless despite the claims. A brilliant star who died too soon, but whose memory lives on in her loved ones. Natalie Wood died by accident, or was there more to it? Leave a comment below. Enjoy this video? Click the next one, like it, and subscribe to our channel for more.